Hi guys, welcome to my podcast. It's Critical. I'm your host Kritika Singh, and in this episode, we'll be in conversation with Farhat Gupta, a psychotherapist, and we'll be discussing things like what's the difference between anxiety and depression, what's the importance of parental support, how it is essential or not so essential for children to get therapy, and more. Uh, by the end of this episode, I'll also be sharing Farhad's links so that you can definitely get in touch with her in case you need a psychotherapist. Thank you so much for being on the show. And eventually, I think today, in the entire conversation I'm going to have with you, I really want my audience to get to know a little more about psychotherapy, mental health, and how seeking mental health therapy is not something which should be considered a taboo or seen in a bad light, but it is something that is the requirement for a lot of us. And even the general population for that matter, just like they go for physical health checkups regularly, mental health checkup is also needed, because a lot of times our mind plays even bigger roles than our body, and there's a need to keep both of these in balance. uh, Having said that, I think I would really want to start my conversation with you.
Sure. Thank you so much for inviting me, and I think it's a great initiative that you have taken up upon yourself to address mental health issue more than ever now. Um, uh, it's very critical that we start addressing mental health issues in parity with physical health issues. So I'm glad that you brought this up.
Thank you. So, talking about mental health, why do you think people in general or some people need therapy?
Um, to answer that question, I will ask another question. If you're not feeling well physically, if you're having a bacterial infection or a viral infection, what would you do about it? Your obvious answer would be, I'll go and see a doctor.
Yeah,
And the most obvious answer to this question is that if you're not feeling well emotionally,
yeah,
uh, if you're not able to deal with your emotions and feelings and your moods, that's the time you need to see the therapist. We are leading in a very fast-paced life,
yeah,
technology driven. Essentially, people do not have time for each other. They do not have we are going through this I am busy syndrome culture, where everyone is trying to seek something, and they do not have time for human connections. We are essentially creatures of emotional creatures. We like human connect.
yeah,
And having said that, that's what is lacking in today's fast-paced world, and and hence people are feeling isolated. People are feeling lonely because they are not willing to invest that time in themselves emotionally, in other people, in relationships. They want a quick fix in relationships. They are not having long, sustainable relationship where they can feel secured, and hence this feeling of isolation is driving them a little lonely, and that's why probably now more than ever we need therapy. That's very generic. I mean, you will have personality disorders, schizophrenia, OCD, PTSDs, and anti-social personality disorders, and paranoid personality disorders, and the likes. You see, that certainly calls for you to see the therapist. The other reason that you most people don't realize is that they are simply carrying their past into the present,
true.
and that is actually creating a havoc in their life. It acts as a trigger sometimes. The hurt they're not able to let go, the grief they haven't overcome. They haven't overcome the loss,
Yeah,
and to address these issues, we need to see someone who will allow us to bring a closure to our emotional wounds, allow us to heal, allow us to grieve, and therapy is your answer for that, because therapy
yeah,
allows you to be in a safe environment, in a very non-judgmental space where you can speak freely, where you can hear yourself, where you can learn and unlearn so many things. You come into awareness about your limited beliefs, your conditioning, which you always thought was correct.
True.
You have been so dearly holding on to those conditioning.
We are living a fast paced life, but at the same time we feel isolated. We feel wanting to connect to someone emotionally, physically, mentally, but at the same time we are a generation of options, where if not if something doesn't work for us today, we'll just not put the effort to make it work, but we'll leave it and move forward. I think that also plays a big role. And secondly, this also leads me to the next question of the whole part of where judgment plays a big role.
You said judgment. A lot of people are very concerned about being judged by the therapist.
Yeah.
Uh, Now, what they haven't really understood is the fact that they are already judging themselves even before they have walked into the clinic of a therapist. Okay, now that's a projection that they are throwing on the therapist. I
Okay.
mean, it's because they have been critically judging themselves.
Yeah.
They feel that they will be judged by the therapist, but be rest assured that therapists are trained professionals, and we are given a special training in accepting our clients unconditionally. There is an unconditional positive regard that we hold for our clients. Okay, no matter where they come from, no matter what financial background, social background, cultural background, behavioral background. I might walk into the therapy, and yet we will be all open to them, and as loving and as welcoming as we can be as a human to another human, because that's what they have failed to get in the outside world. On the part of the therapist should go out of the way to ensure to communicate
Yeah.
about confidentiality,
Yeah.
about they being non-judgmental, about how whatever the client says is highly confidential and it's not going to go beyond the four walls of the therapy.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the role of a therapist, where the therapist tries to gain the confidence of the client, and it has to be done in the first point contact. If that part is missed,
Yeah.
then probably wouldn't want to come back. What else triggers, in my experience, I have seen when people, essentially, if they have come into the therapy
Yeah.
insistent of their family member, which means they are not driven to to come and
Okay.
seek help. Okay, they have been asked by their family members. A husband brings his wife. Okay, my wife needs a therapy. Probably the mother brings the child, or
Yeah.
the wife brings the husband, and or the daughter-in-law is bringing the mother-in-law. Now, if someone else is going to bring you into therapy and you haven't taken that decision to come,
Yeah.
difficult for you to sustain that, because you haven't come with the attitude of change,
Yeah. True.
that change is going to begin with me, and I'm willing to go that step further and put that effort to change, bring that change in me.
That's
uh,
yeah.
oh, yeah, and most of the time that's where people are driven into the therapy by someone else, they tend to drop the therapy. uh, and like I said, the first point contact is very essential, wherein you convey all your apprehensions to your therapist. I mean, whatever it is. I mean, a lot of people have financial challenges. I mean, let's be very honest
Yeah.
about it. They do have this. Tell their therapist. Let her or him decide and take a call how they can extend that little help to you financially.
Yeah.
Various factors. You just have the only thing I request people is, the minute they walk into a therapy room, uh, they must be as honest and as open as possible.
Thank you so much for sharing that, because I think that, and especially financial conversations with anybody becomes a little bit difficult. But even before we get into the financial aspect, I think the next question would be, if I am an individual who so far never needed therapy, or maybe I didn't know that I needed therapy. How do I identify the fact that, oh, maybe I need therapy now? How does that realization happen? Or how can I drive myself to get to that realization?
Okay, a very good question. Here, a bit of an awareness is needed from your side. So, when do you see that you would need therapy? Is that when you have realized that you're not feeling too well emotionally?
Got
Okay,
it.
you are from a past few days or few months or few weeks, you're not just feeling great emotionally, and you have tried speaking to your friends, your family, you have looked up the YouTube, you have looked up the internet, you have read the self-help books,
Yeah.
you have tried everything, and yet you feel no, it's not it's not giving me that peace, it's not giving me that sense of settlement, that sense of security.
Yeah.
It's time to see the therapist. It's time to see the therapist when you know that you're following, your life has become a set of pattern,
Yeah.
emotional pattern, it could
Yeah.
be behavioral pattern. Okay, and you're not even aware. I mean, we are not aware of our patterns,
Yeah.
right? But our patterns are seen in the consequence of what is happening in our life.
True.
I would be having a certain pattern of behavior that is not allowing me to have sustainable relationships. I see, I cannot hold on to any relationship longer than few weeks, a couple of months. Okay,
Yeah.
and this is a repeated pattern. Okay,
Yeah.
I see a lot of people, socially distancing from me.
Yeah.
Okay, I see that my inability to be, relaxing at parties and enjoying
Yeah.
that a lot of 5-7 people have really shared their concern that the way I address my conflict is not they are not happy about it.
Got it.
I see that people don't open up to me. They are
Yeah.
very fearful of me. My subordinates, if I'm in a position of authority, I hear, oh, we cannot go and speak to her. And these patterns have started causing disturbance in your life. You see, you're not able to break away from these patterns. Okay, you need to see a therapist. Uh, Anger management issues. I mean, that's so basic. You are just not able to contain your irritation, your anger.
Yeah.
When you see, for example, anger management
Yeah.
issues, you used to not be angry before, but suddenly you've started realizing that you started getting angry on very petty things. Small things tend to irritate you,
Yeah.
and this has started to impact your relationship, your professional relationships, your personal relationship. So there is this pattern that you see when you start telling, oh, a very very common dialogue. Why does this happen to me?
Yeah.
ये मेरे साथ ही क्यों होता है?
Yeah.
The minute that question steps in, it is for you to step back and start reflecting. What
All
is
right.
my pattern that these series of events tend to happen to me?
Yeah.
Okay, I've stopped sleeping. I'm
Yeah.
not sleeping. Insomnia. I've suddenly developed insomnia, getting panic attack. I started, started to feel breathless. They are psychosomatic. I go to the doctor. Doctor says everything is fine, but I still feel a heaviness on my chest.
Yeah.
There is, my shoulders are jammed. I feel breathless sometimes. I just wake up feeling breathless. These are your signs of panic attacks. You need to see a therapist.
Does this also
Uh,
include the examples like, I'm not feeling like getting up in the morning and I'm dragging myself to work, or I'm like feeling lazy to even like go in the kitchen and prepare something, but I'll just be on the couch lying down thinking about something? Do you think these are also signs, or it is just laziness?
a difference here I would like to draw. So you could be feeling like this maybe on odd days that you just don't feel like doing anything. Probably
Yeah.
you're not in the best of the mood. I mean, we are all humans. We have our bad days. You see,
Yeah.
we need to ourselves. On odd days, I don't feel like sometimes just going to work. I'm just too lazy. Wait and watch. I mean, that's not a matter of concern. It could be that day that you're just low, and it's okay. You see.
Yeah.
Uh, you don't have to address, but if it has been happening regularly, consistently, persistently,
Yeah.
you wake up in the morning and you look that why am I even alive, or what am I going to do, why do I live? what is all of this heading up to? I no more enjoy going out with friends. I no more enjoy my relationships. I no more enjoy the things that I used to enjoy.
Yeah.
I don't see pleasure in anything. I'm just not up to it, and it has been happening for a consistent period of time,
Yeah.
and it has impacted your body. There are body pains, and there's no known cause of any disease, but you're just not feeling good. Ultimately, it's going to translate into your health. Your mind and body are connected.
Yeah.
That sets in, that set of patterns sets in. You have to be watchful, very very watchful of the patterns that you go through in your life. The one off days could be excused as, uh, I mean, you have headaches, you have bad
Yeah.
mental health day, and it is okay. In fact, on those days, you must communicate loud and clear that, okay, I'm not in the best frame of mind, and
Yeah.
I'll reconnect with you.
Got it. So,
That again, that when, especially if you've gone through an abuse
yeah.
or kind of trauma in the past, and that trauma reflection in your present life, and you're just not able to overcome that loss or that grief or that trauma, and that has started interfering in your normal relationship, in your interaction with people, becomes a point of trigger in your life. That's when you need to see the therapist, I think.
Got it. That brings us to the next question, which is about how sometimes, because this has recently happened with a friend and I was confused. So one of my friends said that he needed a therapist, and then eventually he went to a counseling psychologist, and then after a month's time he came back and he was like, I personally think that I made a wrong choice, I should have gone to a therapist, but his family asked him to go and visit this counseling psychologist. So what's the difference between a therapist and a counseling psychologist, or psychotherapy and counseling?
So there is a psychotherapist and a counselor. Essentially, a psychotherapist is trained in psychotherapy. Now, for that, you need to understand the difference between counseling and psychotherapy. Okay,
Yeah.
psychotherapy. So counseling is a very short-term, brief treatment.
Okay.
It's a anywhere between 1 to 5, 6 session. You
Okay.
see, or 8 sessions probably. Okay. Psychotherapy is a long term
Okay.
process. Okay, it requires deeper analysis of your feelings and emotions.
Got
Okay,
it.
counseling is very solution focused. Probably the people are aware of their mental well-being.
Yeah.
It's just that they need to take a few decisions, and or probably certain events in their life are challenging, and they just need to get past that.
Got
so
it.
so probably they just need clarity. It is more to do with changing, making positive actions.
All right.
That is focusing on behavior, focusing on allowing you to take positive actions. Psychotherapy goes into the depths of your psychological disturbances.
Okay.
You want to understand that what is causing these disturbances. What are the conditioning, what have you gone through in your past, what has been your childhood conditioning, what have been the your beliefs, that irrational belief that you have been so holding on to. They get dig deeper into the causal factor of psychological disturbances. They want to get into the background of the psychological disturbances, and take you deep down there, and from there again re-engineer, revamp, and realign your beliefs, and change. And that takes a lot of time, anywhere between, say, about from 1 year to 3 years. And that's the essential difference between psychotherapy and counseling. Yeah.
All right. Uh, do you also think that children need therapy? And in case they do, how are parents supposed to talk about it, or what should parents do?
Children need therapy now more than ever. Especially if children are coming from the background of abuse. Okay,
Okay.
it could be physical abuse, it could be emotional abuse, or any kind of abusive background that a child is coming from. Certainly, that child needs therapy. A child needs therapy if they are finding it difficult to cope with their daily issues. children like adult could go through a lot of mood disorders.
Yeah.
All the information they receive is through a laptop or through a mobile phone, a piece of machine.
Yeah.
It's not going to filter information. They are receiving the world of information which is probably not even age appropriate. They are being exposed to information outside that is not age appropriate. They don't know how to handle that information
Yeah.
any longer.
True.
They don't even share that information. Okay,
True.
their friends are wired. They are dealing with they're having lot many friends, lot many social interaction, but through a machine.
Yeah.
The point of contact is a machine. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're talking to a friend, you're still talking to the friend on call.
Yeah.
If you're connecting to a friend, you're still connecting on a machine, on a message. You are not even in their field of their energy field.
Yeah, to like, I get it. Like now, right now, if I was in person sitting with you and having this conversation, uh, the chemistry could have been a slightly different than like right now while we are doing it
Absolutely.
on digital.
Right? Absolutely. We would have felt each other's energy. We would have felt
Yeah.
each other's vibes. You
Yeah.
see,
True.
there is the sense of comfort. See, biologically, we haven't evolved to become a machine.
Yeah.
Our needs are same.
Yeah.
Our emotional needs are same. Our psychological needs are same. Our survival needs are same.
Yeah.
The same.
Uh,
However, our means to address this needs have now become from human beings to machine. But no, we can't. That's a mismatch.
got it.
Children are isolated.
Yeah.
Children are feeling lonely.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, the biggest issue with parents is here. Parents kind of see seeking help, therapeutic help for the children as their personal failure.
Got it.
Okay, they are very scared that if my child goes out and talks about the abuse probably the parent is hurtling on the child, or some private matters, so the parents feel they feel embarrassed.
And it's also societal, like they think that, oh my god, what will someone else, my neighbor, think that my child is seeking therapy? If the words get out, what will other parents think? And maybe they'll not let my
Correct.
child play with their child.
Absolutely.
So what do you say, what do you want to tell the parents over here,
So I think parents need to change a perspective. They need to see therapy
Yeah.
as an extension of parenthood, an extension of providing a holistic environment to a child.
Got it.
They need to see therapy as a good parenting. You know,
Yeah.
a, a parent that is willing to provide all the support that the child needs.
True. True.
It has to be seen as a part of good parenting rather than a failed parenting. I think if that perspective change, a
Yeah.
parent would be more open to providing, because they must realize that what environment they grew up and the children that are growing up now,
It's very different.
any parent influence is now minuscule. I
Yeah.
mean, it's really minuscule on a child.
Yeah.
The child is under the influence of technology or internet or friends, social environment, virtual environment, nothing to do with the family any longer.
Yeah.
And hence, it becomes imperative that a parent starts looking at solution also beyond them.
Got it.
Beyond them,
Yeah.
the solution can also be beyond them, and hence the parental involvement per unit level awareness needs to
Yeah.
be improved. Okay, the parent need to come out and start speaking to their children about mental health.
Got it.
We have started speaking to our children about sex education. It
Yeah.
took a while.
Yeah.
I mean, it really took a while. Earlier on, to even talk about a girl menstruating or probably going and getting a sanitary napkin from a chemist used to be a hush hush affair.
Of
We
course.
can't go. How can a woman go and speak? Ask for a sanitary napkin over the counter, right?
Yeah.
Mm. We have kind of evolved from that
Yeah.
through awareness. Okay, through awareness, people came out, started speaking. Parents took it upon them to educate children about sex. And now I think the time has come that we, as parents, start talking about mental health issues with our children.
True.
you see. And once that starts happening, and when parents become open to these kind of conversation with children,
Yeah.
it's when probably a child may feel more empowered
Yeah.
rather than vulnerable, you see.
Yes.
So parents need to kind of broaden the horizon. uh, it may be difficult for them because they have been brought up in a different environment. I mean, their conditioning has been different. But probably here a larger level of awareness through media, through national campaigning.
Yeah.
Uh, that's where we can address this issue.
Yeah, because from my teenage years when I was in high school, I remember one of my friend coming and telling me that you're my best friend, so I'm telling you this, that I am going through therapy and I feel my parents think I'm mad. And at that moment, we all thought that it's so serious, and he thinking that his parents are thinking that he's mad, and that is the reason he's going for therapy. But when I look back now, having this awareness about it, I think his parents did a great job when they
Yeah,
realize that he needs therapy. But that's where the school, the society, and each one of us come into picture, that we as a society, or we as that friend community of his, we thought that okay, maybe it's serious, maybe it's bad. So even though we were there supporting him, in our head we were like, "Ki, oh shit, I hope I don't have to go through that therapy." But
yeah,
now when I look back, there are few schools who have counseling psychologists. Like you said, it's just us for a small goal oriented process, or like a small session. But even like in school, counseling psychologists and them being there helps. So do you think even schools should start looking at, on a larger scale, having psychologists and in school?
okay. So I would go a little one step further than that. Okay,
Okay.
just having a psychologist in school would provide a very short-term solution. Okay,
Yeah.
actually not addressing the core issue. I would rather look at mental health awareness to be made a part of the primary school curriculum.
Got it.
Okay, we learned about when you and I were in school. Our biology books spoke about viral infection, bacterial infection, influenza,
Yeah.
typhoid and pneumonia. All of that we knew
Yeah.
how it worked. How the bacterial infection vaccines came out. How the viral infections are treated, and the blah 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 of the physical illnesses. We never heard in our biology textbook about a mental illness.
True.
I mean, I don't remember hearing about OCDs and anxiety, depression, and
Absolutely.
panic attacks.
Like half
I
of us
don't,
don't
and I'm
even
just
know
wondering
what
why.
this is.
Yeah, we didn't even hear all of this. I mean, I'm wondering why our mind not accept it as a part of our body and address it as the same on parity with physical illness. So it needs to enter the textbook first.
Yeah.
It enters the textbook and it becomes a normal thing. Okay, we are now comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Okay, we have learned it in school. Now when the teachers are teaching, now they are getting aware, because if you're teaching, the more you teach, the more you learn. The more you teach, the more you learn.
Of
Okay,
course.
so adults get oriented towards it. And in the PTM, when the teacher addresses mental health issue in front of a parent,
Yeah.
are educated.
Got it. That's an
Okay.
amazing point to put across, because this is something that at least right now we definitely need to address, like as a society, or even in India, like as a country. This is mental health, and especially now with the entire COVID atmosphere, I think globally mental health is something that needs to be talked about, that needs to be normalized, because the awareness of it is needed. And I hope, with this conversation that we are having right now, and through my podcast or through our video that we release, it reaches as many people as we can.
Absolutely, and hence I just told you I was delighted to be here. I mean, the more we can talk about it, the more we can make it seem very normal.
Yeah.
A normal part of life, normal part of human existence. Uh, that's all that it is. The way to deal with it. I mean,
Yeah.
uh, uh, and And you could go on with your another question. I can go on this, you see.
No, that's yeah, I completely understand, and I think the idea for me to have this session also with you was because uh, I thankfully had a friend while I was questioning everything. I had a friend to push me to, accept or maybe realize that, okay, you've been talking about it, but maybe you should take action by actually going for therapy. And that is the kind of environment we need where, we each support each other and promote each other to take therapy. So, we've had serious conversations now. I think there is one round, which is a rapid fire round and which I'm doing with all my other guests also. And after these one word questions that I'll ask and the one word answer that you'll have to give me, maybe I can continue with the rest of the 4, 5 questions that I have.
And only one on one condition that you're going to give me the result of the rapid fire. I want to know that.
Yeah, so I think the last episode of the entire podcast is where I'll be talking about the rapid fire round in overall perspective, because this is just like Carl Jung's word association test. So I'm doing my own psychological testing over here with my guests on board. So if you're ready, like there are just 6, 7 words that I'll be just asking you and throwing it, and then you have to just respond.
Sure.
So the first one is dog.
Dog, loyal,
Need. Need, want, desire, need.
uh, fulfillment,
Want.
option,
Money.
uh, again need.
Therapy.
Okay. Therapy, a must.
Frog.
Jumpy,
Sustainability.
long lasting,
Desire.
capture.
That's it. You had a very firm establishment in terms of whatever you had to say.
Absolutely. That's the way I choose to live.
I think, yeah, I think it does. It has a lot to do with, also the kind of profession you're in and like the experiences you've had. Uh,
Yeah.
like now talking about mental health, we've been talking about how children also need therapy and like parents need to address this. Uh, how do you think we can break the stigma around mental health and the stigma around therapy?
Okay. So, like what you're doing now,
Yeah,
you're contributing to this awareness. Okay. Uh, and I would really recommend and appreciate people like you who have gone for therapy to first talk about it as normally
yeah,
as possible, as boldly as possible, as a matter of fact as possible.
yeah,
And for example, oh, you know what? I just went to see my therapist. I was just, I was not feeling okay in my head. I
yeah,
went to see my therapist. That's the kind of conversation we should start.
having,
The language,
yeah,
you see the language that we how we address this, like the language that you just told me that your friend told you, oh, my parents think I'm mad.
yeah, yeah,
You see,
yeah,
it's the using language.
got it.
Aware, how are we going to address these issues in terms of our language, how we can simplify it, how we address it as a matter of fact, as a normal part of living.
Yeah,
Okay, also not getting back at people
yeah,
once you know that this person has gone through a therapy. Oh, you know how she's mad, that's why she's seeking
true.
therapy, you see.
Yeah,
You know that a very mean way of getting back at people. Oh, no wonder relationship is crashing down, look at her, she's seeing a therapist. You
true,
see,
true.
uh, just the sensitivity, the compassion, the empathy,
Yeah,
that we all are in the same boat, we all go through these emotions. You and I are same, we feel the same things, you see. It's just that probably your coping mechanisms would be just different than mine.
yeah,
Just having that kind of an empathy. Okay, another way is I really feel is that endorsement of mental health issue by very prominent personalities of the society.
yeah,
Okay, Deepika Padukone, Karan Johar, then in the Western world, we have Brad Pitt, Miley Cyrus, then Beyonce, and so many others, like them, who have come up and started talking about. Now, please understand the uniqueness when these people speak. These people are coming from a so-called lucky lot.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
these are lucky people, right?
Yeah.
Why? Because they have money, they have fame,
Yeah.
they get the attention they need, they have the glamour, they have the
Yeah.
looks, they have the body, they have
True.
the money, they have the luxury, they have the comfort,
Yeah.
they have everything we associate ourselves as happiness.
Yeah.
Agree?
Yeah.
Okay. Our entire pursuit of happiness is chasing after one of the things that these people, all of them, have put together.
True.
Correct?
True.
And despite the fact that these people come out and say, hello, we are feeling depressed, we don't feel good inside.
Yeah.
So for a normal, ordinary person, it is very inspiring.
Yeah.
It is inspiring because they feel okay. इतना सब कुछ होने कर भी they feel they go through depression, which means happiness is not associated with all of the things which they have.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Happiness is not an association with an outside material world, but with it's an association with your own self.
Yeah.
Okay, and that is very very encouraging, very motivating, very inspiring, and it gives a lot of solace to ordinary people. Say, oh, if they can go through, so we go through, it is okay.
True. True.
You see, that's when the stigma, when such influential people come out in the open and say, oh yes, we also go through what you go through. The stigma, people start reading about it, people start learning about it, people start addressing it
Yeah.
at a personal level. We could also, media could help here. Media plays a fantastic role in bringing about social changes. Okay, media. I mean, we had that film Dear Zindagi.
Yeah.
I thought it was a beautiful film.
True. It was. It was.
It just put therapy in such a positive light.
Yeah.
We need such kind of an ad campaign, such kind of movies, such kind of dramas that are addressing these issues in a positive light, so people understand that okay, this is a normal thing.
Yeah.
Okay, nationwide campaign.
On mental
You see,
health. Yeah.
on mental health, a Swachh Bharat campaign can be run. You could run a campaign on using a sanitary napkin.
Yeah.
You better start addressing mental health issue when people are committing suicide in our country.
Yeah. True.
When 1 in 7 Indian is suffering from mental health.
Wow, that's a staggering number to even start with. And we barely know about it.
14% of, yeah, 14% of Indian population suffers from mental health disorder, and they carry this disability throughout their life. This is it is called a disability carried through the life of an individual if not addressed.
And why do you think it's called disability?
Because it is actually disability. Why it is a disability? Okay, but
Yeah.
in physical means, we consider them disabled or differently abled. Rather,
Yeah.
I would like to address it
Yeah.
because they are unable to carry out the normal functioning up to the optimum level.
Got it.
And hence, in the emotional sense, if you're not feeling absolutely up to it, if you're
Yeah.
not feeling, if you don't see any, you're not able to handle the stress in life, you're not working towards the optimum efficiency,
Yeah.
you have kind of created a disability for yourself in terms of living your life to the
Yeah.
greatest potential.
Okay.
The ultimate objective of life is to find peace and joy and happiness.
True.
And if you're far away from there, then it is time we start addressing it.
We have been talking about how, a government body or a national campaign or even celebrities plays an important role. Now, for a country like India or even, any other developed country, and to be honest, even underdeveloped countries, or countries where, people do not have the access or the money to even go for therapy. Uh, how do you think we can reach out to those people, like people in rural India? How do you think, we can reach out to them? Because even while we are doing this episode in English, a lot of people in rural India, and made majority of the people in rural India won't be able to, hear this in English and probably understand it entirely. So, of course, I'm thinking of having something done and publish it somewhere in even vernacular languages so that I can reach out to the majority of Indians. But talking about therapy to rural India or developing countries or communities there, how can we do that smoothly and easily?
So, like I told you, that the one significant way to address this, to
Yeah,
bring about this social change, is through the textbooks of children. Now, when you make it a part of your national curriculum,
yeah,
okay, everyone knows about Gandhiji.
yeah,
Every child who has gone to the school knows about Gandhi, right?
yeah,
Why? Because our textbooks spoke about it.
true.
Correct.
Yeah,
Even if the parents haven't gone to the school, they know about Gandhiji,
yes, yes,
right?
yeah,
So once you bring it into all the entire national language, different language textbooks
yeah,
at a very primary level of education, we are talking about it in the first standard, second standard, third standard, gradually increasing the level of intensity of the subject.
yeah,
Correct.
yeah,
The minute we start doing that, we have penetrated into the system. Correct.
yeah,
Yeah. At the rural level, we have a lot of community, a lot of NGOs that are working.
yeah,
Now, all those NGOs are addressing poverty, addressing skill development, hygiene
yeah,
development. A lot of other issues are being, artisans issues have been taken up,
yeah,
domestic violence issues have been taken up at the NGO level.
yeah,
Why not mental health issue? Why not
absolutely.
educate those NGOs to go and start communicating in the panchayat about the mental health issues?
Yeah, because that's the one thing that we tend to ignore the most, but is
Yeah,
the one
because
that actually plays a big role in for
yeah.
us to do whatever we do or our behaviors.
And if our mind is not working, how are we going to contribute to life? How are you going to contribute to the economy later?
Yeah,
Contribute to this planet. When you are not feeling well emotionally, if your head is not clear, how can you
yeah,
find solution to your problems?
true.
Don't give them solutions, empower them to think. Our education system teaches us what of the knowledge.
Yeah.
Our education system does not teach us how to think.
And that's a very big point. That's where change needs to happen to start with if we want to reach out to the entire community, the entire nation. Because me and you with this initiative can maybe reach a few people, but the people who in the rural areas are not aware of it need it on a major level, and that is where interventions of government and media plays a big role.
Absolutely. I mean, now with the help of technology, we can reach the rural part of India. Why not, professionals in the city take this up and, probably and the NGOs collaborate, and we kind of have a video conferencing where we are, addressing the panchayats, the local panchayat, and telling them, if you're feeling emotional, these are the techniques, these are the tools, and it is okay, it is not the end of the world.
Yeah,
We could just connect the bridge, and technology can be used positively here,
true.
wherein we do teach. But it has to come as a national campaign. It has to come through the societal systems. These NGOs, that community workers that are working. There should be a national budget for mental health. We just have a 50 crore national budget for mental health care. Where is it going to be? How are we going to address it? It has to become a part of the national healthcare
Movement.
program.
Yeah,
Has to become a part of national healthcare movement. It has to become a part of our insurance system.
yeah,
I mean, you're being tested for diabetes, thyroid, cardiac, and all the rest of the cancer. Are you even tested, or does it say mental depression, anxiety, PTA, or SD, OCD? I mean, how do you address these issues? Let's start talking. Let's start addressing it. Let's start recognizing the need for it more than anything.
Of course. I mean, recognition is I think, the starting point, at least from an individual point of view. Acceptance.
Correct.
That is, I think, the biggest hurdle for a lot of people. At least for me, accepting that, okay, I need to go to therapy was the first step. When I accepted it, it took me another few months to even push myself and make that effort to finally ask for help. But again, having that realization is also very, very critical to start with.
Correct. And you face that challenge because in school you were probably not spoken of therapy. Were you
Yeah.
spoken about therapy
No,
in
I
your school?
barely,
No.
barely. It's only because I am a psychology student and I
Yeah.
had read about it. I learned that, okay,
Correct.
yeah, if this happens, we should go to therapy. And that is why it was normal for me. Like, I remember the first time I told some of my close friends that I'm going for therapy, they had a reaction which was not very welcoming. But eventually, when I started talking about therapy and normalizing it in our daily usual conversation, is now when they have realized that, okay, some of them also need therapy and it's completely all right. And
Yeah.
that's normalizing it. Like, I think that is the kind of change we need, talking about it more often and in our daily lives.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, and recognizing that someone else could be having that a bad mental health day, and we just giving that respecting that, accepting that, and not expecting people to be the very best all the time with you,
True.
especially in relationships. We have this huge demand that my partner should be always up there and rising and shining. No, come on. I mean, give them a break. They need this space. Give them alone for some time. They'll figure it out. Respect that need, that we all are human and we go through these phases in our lives, and it is absolutely okay. And if in school we start talking about it, we grow up hearing this.
Yeah.
When we grow up hearing this, we find it as normal. Probably our generation, if we start talking to it about with our children will be more open to our to this idea, and hence we can it's slowly and eventually any kind of a social change takes time,
Yeah.
and but we already have started moving in that direction, and I'm hopeful that we become more open towards this.
That's, I remember that in my last session with you, during my therapy, I had asked you this question, what's the difference between anxiety and depression? And that was eye-opening for me because that was a very small thing that you told me, but it made a lot of sense to me. I would really like you to answer that question here. Like, what is the difference between anxiety and depression?
Anxiety is more to do with worrying
Okay.
aspect of your feeling, and you essentially tend to worry about what if the fundamental underlying theme is what if,
Yeah.
what if this happens, what if that happens, what it is more placed in the future. Uh,
Yeah.
it is of course it is driven by fear, by insecurities. If you are an insecure person, if you haven't found that stability, there is a certain thing you're seeking, because of your lack. There
Yeah.
is a certain lack that you're trying to fill that lack from the environment.
Okay.
Okay. And because you're now depending on the environment to fill that lack in you, and
Yeah.
you feel, what if that environment suddenly changes?
Okay.
Okay. What if this goes away? What if this happens? Then
Okay.
where am I? Which means my survival now will be at stake, which means there is uh, I will not probably survive.
Yeah.
Okay. So anxiety is more placed in the future. It's
Okay.
more to do with the work aspect of it. It's more to do with seeking from your environment for
Yeah.
certain things, and of course related, and you equate it to survival, which is not true. I mean, you will survive. And that's the whole therapeutic process we can go through, and Depression is more to do with past regrets. Okay, your past memories. Depression is a kind of a dejection from your own self. Dejection from other people, that you feel a kind of disappointment in life, that you are facing. You wanted, it is coming from a demand that the world should have been like this, or that person should have been like this, or I should have been like this, or my life should be something like this.
Yeah.
And when you see it failing at all aspects, because you've created a demand. When the minute the demand sets in,
Yeah.
there is no room for a no, which means now you have created a demand, and now you're not willing to accept a no.
That's true. Yeah.
And the minute you feel that, oh, that person should behave like this, he or she should behave like this, or the world must behave like this, the world must be more fair, life must be more fair, I must be all achieving, I must be doing all of this all the time, you see. And when things then don't happen, because the universe is not operating for your at individual level.
Yeah.
It's a huge mechanism, there's a huge system that is in place, and you're just a part of that.
Yeah.
Okay, certainly there are a lot many things that are not going to be in your control, and when you see that control slipping out of your hand, you tend to lose hope in yourself, in the world, in the people around you, and that's when depression sets in, as a loss of purpose.
As a loss of?
Purpose, sense of
Okay.
purpose.
Okay. Okay.
You see.
Yeah, I mean,
So
when we see and we talk about it in general life, we're like, okay, I'm anxious today. Oh, I feel depressed. But to really deep dive and understand the difference, or to even understand the meaning of these two terms, is something that we fail to do oftentimes. And I think that is why I personally feel that this question was something that I really wanted you to answer here.
yeah, and depression is more to do with sadness. It kind of slows you down. Anxiety sets you in that worrying mode, that hyper mode. You could be hyperventilating, you could be breathing fast, your heart
Yeah.
would be pumping. You see, everything will be rushing. You
Yeah.
get into the anxious mode, wherein you want to do something about it.
Yeah.
Okay, and depression is, it just slows you down, it pulls you down. You don't want to do anything.
Anything.
Given up hope on everything. You see, that's a fundamental difference between anxiety and depression.
Okay. Thank you so much for answering that question. And yeah, I mean, I'm grateful that you were a part of this and you are here today.
Thank you, Kritika. I was more than happy. I'm glad that you gave me this opportunity to be here, and probably let us think that this is a small step towards our contribution to spreading awareness about mental health.
I hope you enjoy the show, and in case of any suggestions and feedback, you can write to me at itskritikal@gmail.com. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this episode. If in case you want to reach out to Farhat or need to discuss anything related to your mental health, you can write to her on the link described below. You can also visit my website www.itscritical.com to read the article which we've prepared for this episode. And please do like, share, comment, and spread the word of mental health. Take care. Thank you.